Hello and welcome to our final session of the week, our lower body strength and conditioning work, pause, work, replay style. Okay, so we're going to get you started with, of course, a warm-up that we're doing together, but you already knew that, as well as talking about the specific equipment that you are going to need today. We have our 8-pound dumbbells, our loop bands. I also have this towel, which I'm going to use as a slider on the floor. The last thing that we will need toward the very end is our here supportive footwear that I'm actually going to put on right now so that I don't have to put it on later. And you might want to as well, or you can wait until that last point, that conditioning work that is at the very end today. So start you off with this here warm-up, then we're completing it together. It's going to start off with some lunges. We're going to come to the very front of the mat, arms down by our sides, stepping back into the lunge, reaching both of our arms up and over our head, doing 10 of these total, 5 per side. And we're doing them together, which is always nice because you don't necessarily need to count unless you work a lot faster than me, in which case you shouldn't. I want you working at the same pace. So we'll feel that nice opening stretch through the front of the hips as we reach those arms up. Bend both knees to 90 degrees. 3 more of these. 2, and last one. Finishing off these ones, we're going to stand hip width apart in the feet, soft knees, arms down by our sides, 90 degrees at the elbows, hinge the hips back and reach those arms over our head. This overhead hinge and reach. We're doing 10 of these with the intention of getting that nice opening stretch through the back of the legs. We're also getting some activation work in our glutes, which we'll feel when we squeeze our butt and pull ourselves up to the top. So we'll get through 5 more of these. And exhaling as we go down, pulling ourselves up, breathing through each of these reps. 3 more. And 1 more. Going back into the lunges for the next one. We're going to go once again, arms down by our sides, stepping back into the lunge. Once we get down here, we're going to turn, reset, and stand back up to the top. Once again, we will do 10 of these total. Trying to get our arms as straight as possible. And again, getting down to 90 degrees at the bottom. So we're feeling the stretch now through the front as well as a little bit through the side of the hip as we're adding in that prominent twist at the bottom. But we want to be in control. So we're sort of separating those 2 movements apart from each other. 3 more of these to go. Last 2. And last one. Back to the center of our mat, into a squat stance. Arms are once again in that sort of 90-degree position. Squat stance with that angle out into our toes. We're going to sit down, reach the arms up. Simultaneous motion of sitting down, arms go up. 10 reps total. Breathing through these ones as well. Trying to get down to 90 degrees. We're not seeing our hands at the bottom of that squat because they are being sent over top of our head. So we'll go through our 10. We have 4 more. Breathing through these ones. 2 and 1. Okay, so we're going to finish up this warm-up down on the floor going with a dead bug. So we're all the way down, hands up, knees up. We want to lower opposite arm, opposite leg, while keeping our low back nice and tight down to the floor. I'm bending my legs. Although you might want to straighten yours out and reach that leg away with a straight leg, but we want to also make sure that we're controlling that coordination. 20 reps total. Now again, because of my situation, I'm not going to be joining you on these as the dead bugs are not a very ideal exercise for me to do with my core. So I'll let you guys count through those ones, breathing through them, again the whole time trying to keep that back down on the floor as tight as you can, every rep. And again, connecting that brain and body, getting that coordination working through these ones here. So I'll give you about 10 more seconds here to finish those ones up. And then we should be feeling quite warm after these as we are finished the warm-up. We're going to start talking about our first 2 movements that you have to get through. So we are starting off with a superset. First exercise is going to be using the dumbbells. Second exercise, we'll need some space on the floor to work with that slider. We're doing a slider hamstring curl. So as per usual, I will be using the dumbbells. If you don't have dumbbells, you can always use these bands in place of the dumbbells. We also have these specifically coming into play at the end for our last superset. But what I'm going to do here is fold up my mat so that I have a bit more space for the slider. Starting off with these deadlifts, I'm going to hold one weight in each hand, shifting the weight onto one leg, soft knee, and then we'll hinge the hips back, getting that nice strong knee drive up to the top between every one of our reps. And we have 15 on the menu to start us off. So 15 reps total of this single leg deadlift on this side. Yes, we got some balance involved. And then we'll switch 15 reps on the other side here. That's our first one. Second one, again, is going to be a hamstring curl variation. So we can either do the hamstring curl with a towel. If you don't have a towel, you can always use that dumbbell laying on your tummy, which again, I cannot show you, unfortunately, holding the dumbbell between your feet and then curling up to 90 degrees. That is a substitute for this one, which is with our heels on the slider, hips up, feet go out. We can either pull in or relax our hips and reset to that starting point. We have a range here, 12 to 15. So you can stop at 12 or you can go up to 15. Completely is up to you and how you feel. And we are going to take some rest. So after we're finished this set of the hamstring curls, we'll be taking that 30 to 45 seconds of rest before we start our second and third set, because we have 3 rounds total of these 2. Okay, so get on up here, press pause on that video, go get those 3 sets done, and then I will see you back here for part 2 of our strength work. All right, welcome back. Part 2. We're starting once again off with a slider exercise. We're going to work with a slider reverse lunge. So again, if you don't have a slider, you're going to follow along, just sort of stepping back into the lunge, getting all of the same thoughts as we would have with the slider. We're going to take these weights and keep them in that very same position we had up to the top, driving slightly in front of that standing leg. We have 12 reps through this leg, and then we'll switch, and we have 12 reps through this leg over here. Again, if you don't have the slider, we're working with just that foot, stepping back, and then front leg pulling ourselves up. That is our first exercise. Second one is going to be a front-loaded sumo squat. So we want to widen up our feet nice and wide, sumo stance, angle out in our toes. We're going to sit down to 90 degrees and then stand up, going through 12 reps for this one as well. Between these 2, we are not going to take any reps. So we're going back to back between these 2, 4 rounds total. That would be our first one. Then you have 3 more to go after this one to make it 4 sets. Okay. Go get it done, press pause, and I will see you back here for the final part of the strength before we get our conditioning work on. All right, so here we are, last part to our strength. We do not need the slider anymore. We are going to be working with a band now. So if you have this glute band, we're going to take it, put it on around our heels, and it's going to stay there. If you want to challenge yourself, you can grab a second one and put it around your knees as well. I'm just going to work with one, but some of us might want that additional work from having both bands on. We're working off of a timer. So for this timer, it's essentially going to beep every 60 seconds, which is going to switch us between 2 movements. This one leg 3-point extension, or sorry, one-way extension. So we're just going out to 1 point, like so, for 30 seconds. And then we're going to switch and do this way out on that 45-degree angle for 30 seconds. And then the timer is going to beep, and we're going to go into a wall sit for 1 minute, where we're just hanging out, holding this wall sit. Timer is going to beep after the minute is up. You're right up into your second of 3 sets. So we're doing 3 rounds total. So again, if you have an interval timer, you can set it to 60 seconds per round. It's just going to beep you through each of those minutes. Or you can set a running clock and just watch it and make sure that you are switching your 30 seconds here, 30 seconds here, and making sure that hip's nice and loaded. We're hinging our hips back, keeping all of the weight in the standing leg so we're not moving as we go through that extension. We want to essentially balance and have that leg move away from us. 30 seconds, and then we got the wall sit. 1 minute right here, holding this burning leg wall sit, okay? So 3 sets back to back. You already knew that because there was no rest on the timer. And then we are going to come back here and talk about our conditioning work. Just going to take us to the finish line. Okay, go get that done, and I'll see you back here when you're finished. All right, my friends, here we are, last final part, rather 3 parts. There are 3 parts to this last conditioning work, and it is on our Tabata interval timer. So our Tabata timer is 20 seconds on, 10 seconds off. So again, I would highly, highly recommend that you set up that interval timer so that you have it starting and stopping you with beeps. It's a lot more effective to follow through. We're doing 8 sets of the following 3 exercises. So I'm going to lay my mat back out. Starting off with this first one, it's going to be a squat jump. So for 20 seconds, we're going to be doing as many of these squat jumps as we can. If you don't jump, you're just going to squat up and down, 20 seconds, followed by 10 seconds of rest, where you can kind of breathe, tap toes, stay still, sit down, do whatever you want to do for 10 seconds. And then we'll go into our second set, 20 seconds of the jumps, 10 seconds of rest in between, 8 sets. I know that sounds like a lot. It's going to take you 4 minutes to get through those squats, squat jumps, and then we have 2 other exercises. So what I would recommend is to set a timer for about 1 to 2 minutes. 1 minute if you're feeling good, if you want to push yourself. 2 minutes if you need a little bit more rest, that's okay. But set that timer so that you have a time frame before you need to start your second exercise, which is going to be our pulsing lunges. So we step back into a lunge, and then we step forward and switch. Highly recommend body weight. If you really want to challenge yourself, then you can add in a jump instead. Okay, but most of us are going to feel very challenged by just that step back lunge. 20 seconds, 10 seconds of work, same 8 sets, same 1 to 2 minutes before we start our last and final one, which is down on the floor, which is going to be a hip bridge. So for 20 seconds, we're going up and down with the hips. For this one, I want you guys to challenge yourself and try to have that 10 seconds here at the top. Okay, so 10 seconds, followed by 20 up and down. And then again, we'll spend 10 here. Unless we really feel like we're not going to make it, then you can relax your hips for the 10 seconds. And then again, that 8 sets there is going to take us to the finish line of today's session. Okay, so you have 3 different Tabata circuits to work through, or exercises rather. 2 minutes, 1 to 2 minutes between each of them. And then again, I want you to come back here because I have a couple stretches that you can do that are going to feel very good after doing all of that stuff. Okay, so press pause, set your timer, 20 seconds on, 10 seconds off. We'll get it done. I'll see you back here. Okay. Woo. Welcome back, my friends. So we're going to finish you off with some stretches that are overall just going to feel really good after doing all that stuff. Starting off with our standing hip flexor stretch. So we're going to take this sort of shallow lunge position, shift the weight into that front leg, tilt our pelvis under, so we're getting that nice stretch through the front of the hip. If you want more stretch, you can reach that arm up and above your head, 30 to 60 seconds, and we're not doing these together. So you have to time yourself, so feel free to hold it for upward to a minute, and feel free to do more than 1 round. We can do 1, 2, 3 rounds total of these stretches, and we'll do the same thing on the other side for the hips, getting that nice opening hip flexor stretch. And then the last one that we'll do, although you can really add in more, any other stretches, glute stretches, hip stretches that you want, is just reaching down towards our feet, getting the hamstrings, the lower back, everything involved in the stretch. And again, breathing through this for 30 to 60 seconds. And then you are done. So that concludes our Friday session, last session of the week. Hopefully y'all feel good, got all that work in, and I will see you guys next week for some new sessions. Okay, have a great day, have a great weekend, and I will catch you next time.